Hello, everyone, and welcome to another podcast episode of Love, Life, and Energy. I'm your host, Michelle Chung. Today, I'm going to be talking about how you can trust the process of manifesting and the exact steps that I took to actually manifest my partner, and he came to me in about 90 days. So you're going to love this. Stick around and listen for it. Hey, my name is Michelle Chung, and I'm a live manifestation expert, which means I help women manifest their soulmate live in person, offline. And I help career-driven A-type alpha women find their man so they can have the amazing, committed, and effortless relationship they deserve. Basically, I was coaching my one-on-one clients, and she was just in a lot of stress and worry and anxiety. She's in her 30s, so she's also really worried about that biological clock that we all have if we want to have kids and thinking that we're getting too old, right? And a lot of us are having kids a bit later in life, and we are able to have kids later, and it suits us, right? But it's still kind of like that worry, especially if you haven't had a partner, a long-term relationship, or you haven't been in love. And so you're always worried, like, what am I missing out on, right? That kind of FOMO, that you're going to miss the boat, that kind of stuff. So when I was coaching her, a couple of things I realized was that you have to really trust the process. Now, I know it's really hard for A-type women, the alpha women who are really used to taking lots of action, go out and get it, make things happen, right? So it is hard to feel like, you sit back and let the universe do the work, right? This is one of the, I guess, one of the virtues as go-getting, career-driven women, that we need to trust the process and allow the universe to deliver and help us get what we want, which is our soulmate, right? So it's so much easier to take lots of action and do the external work. But what it actually requires us is to be in our feminine energy and to receive. So I actually wrote out a couple of steps that I thought might be quite helpful, and that you can actually trust that a process works. I guess part of the trusting is recognizing that everything is a cause and effect. So the law of cause and effect. I know I went through this myself where I'm like, everything I'm doing, it's not amounting to anything. I'm not getting the results I want. I'm doing a lot of actions, and you might resonate. I'm taking a lot of actions and I'm doing a lot of stuff, yet I'm not meeting the right guy. I'm not meeting anyone that's close to my soulmate. And so we get exasperated thinking, I'm doing all this action, but nothing's happening, right? And I saw one Instagram post that I really needed to see that day. It was basically something like, just know that the actions that you're taking are producing results, whether they be the desired results that you want, or, not the desired results, is a different matter. And knowing which actions to take is really the key, isn't it? So I'm going to help you with that. This is Manifesting 101 in this episode, and how you can trust the process, because I guess in seeing the results from other people, you can safely assume that if you follow those same steps, the law of cause and effect, that you're actually going to get the same results as well, or similar. Of course, we have lots of variables between ourselves and other people, but just know that the actions that you're taking are producing results. Okay, so and if you take specific actions, they're going to lead to specific results as well. Okay, cool. So when I was coaching this student, this client, one of the first things I had to say was, did you actually decide that you can do this? Did you decide for yourself that you can actually manifest? So we talk a lot about manifesting, and I took the actions and I did this, and I was working on this, and I was watching this video, and I was trying to do this. But at the very beginning, you actually have to decide and say, I can do this. I know it sounds very basic, very almost childlike. It's like the Thomas the Tank Engine, right? I can do it. I can do it. But you really need to have that. You really need to have that self-belief that you can do it, you can pull it off. So my first step I would recommend is actually to make the decision that you can actually call your soulmate into your life, that it's not just a random coincidence, a random thing that happens, that you are the one who's powerful in your life, that you are the one who gets to control your life and have the things that you want happen. And it's not just a random chance that things happen to you, but things actually happen for you. So that first step would be you need to make the decision that you can do it. And I use a really powerful exercise. It's called the case of evidence exercise. It's inside my online program. And it's basically looking at other areas of your life where you've manifested something or you've received results that you've actually wanted. And if you can do that in one area of your life, then you absolutely have the capability and ability to do that in your love life as well. So it's kind of the idea of, I've done it once before, I can do it again. And so looking at what were the steps that you took? How are you being? Who are you being in that moment that had you be able to manifest or get the results that you wanted in that part of your life? So, for example, perhaps your career is really easy for you. It's effortless. You've been able to do really well at work, work with clients, with employees, work with your boss. Things happen really easily and effortlessly for you, right? So that case of evidence exercise, you can use that to understand, hey, I feel really good in that part of my life, and I'm able to have things come to me easily. And that's the way it can be with your relationships and your love life as well. So that first step is to make that decision. You can do this. I would say the second step is you need to believe in it as well. I know that some manifesting gurus might say, yes, you need to do the affirmations and you need to repeat it dozens of times a day, or you need to believe in it, believe in yourself. And there are other manifestation gurus who say, you don't even have to believe it. It may not be in your belief system yet it will still happen. What I like to say is at least believe in yourself to some degree, that you have the self-esteem to kind of pull it off, that you need to believe that you've got this. You're not meant to be alone forever. And your soulmate is out there looking for you as well. With this client, I also kind of mentioned not to have that, expectation or attachment that it's just one guy out there in the world. Potentially, you have multiple soulmates in this lifetime and in multiple realities or multiple universes. So just understand that just because he hasn't turned up yet doesn't mean he won't turn up. And just to let go of that attachment and expectation that has got to be a certain way. Okay, you've got to believe in the outcome, but just kind of let go of the how. Okay, so that's step number 2. The next step, step 3, is to understand that manifesting is a trusted process. It's a reliable process. It does work, but the only thing that gets in the way, it's you. It's your ego, it's the worries and fears, it's the doubt, it's holding back from being your true self. All these things get in the way of us receiving what we actually want. I know that when you meditate or when you really go inside yourself and you tap into your feminine energy, this really helps us to get in contact with the universe and to be able to communicate with your higher power. This is a really important part as well. That's why we talk about the feminine, masculine energies, the feminine actually being going internal. So in Chinese medicine, we talk about masculine being external, yang, sun, above, right-sided. And alternatively, on the other side, it's your feminine energies internal, left-sided, yin, the earth. So just trust that these universal laws are there and we can actually use them for our own benefit, and that they'll always be there for us and they will always work. That's why they're universal laws. Okay, and so the next step, I talked about letting go a little bit as well. I suppose it's a constant process of letting go. It's always about releasing, perhaps limiting beliefs, ideas, old processes, old programming that doesn't serve you anymore. So it's constantly letting go and receiving. There's a really cool exercise that I do in my online program. And I saw this as a very powerful exercise I saw in some training I did for personal development before. And the concept of letting go can be so easy. It's the part about trying to hold on that actually makes it really hard. So if you say to somebody, try and let go, you either do it or you don't. There's no such thing as that in between. And I guess this sort of suits my black and white personality. I'm very much like, it's either a yes or it's a no, right? So letting go is such an important part. Releasing is such an important part. Releasing all those things that don't serve you. Like I mentioned, the limiting beliefs, the resistance. You know, I talk a lot about resistance now because this was literally one of the main things that really gave me a huge breakthrough and allowed my soulmate to come into my life. When I did this resistance exercise, it's just like everything changed. There was something so powerful about that, releasing that resistance. It was firstly recognizing what that resistance was, and then just letting it go. There's kind of like that process. Become aware, and then once you become aware, it has no hold over you anymore, right? It's like the boogeyman in the closet. Once you open the doors and shine a light on it, it doesn't have any power. It's not so scary anymore. Super cool. The next step, I would say, the fifth step, is to focus on having the best life ever. Reach your other goals in work, in life, in other parts of your life, and just go for it. I think the best results that my students get is that they've recognized and they're able to tap into intuition and to say to themselves, I really want to live in Mexico. I really want to travel to this place. I really want to take up this new course. And all those things that help you contribute to living your best life is where your soulmate is going to be as well. When you live on your life purpose, and my partner says this a lot, Raf, my partner, he's also an executive coach and very spiritual guy. He always says that when you're following your life path, that's where your soulmate's going to be as well, because he is also doing his internal work and on his journey as well. And that's when you meet, when you're doing and being the best version of yourself. So I remember that when I was single and I was living in Sydney and I was doing lots of fun things like Latin dancing and training martial arts and meeting new friends, and I was living this amazing best life. But something really caught my ear. Someone said there was a digital nomad visa to go and live in Barcelona. And I thought, oh, I would love to go and live in Europe. It's something that I've always wanted to do. I never went and did the UK London thing when in my 20s. I never felt drawn to it. But this time I was like, I would love to live in Europe. And I would love to learn Spanish. Just having a third language in my tool belt would be amazing. So I decided to follow my intuition. And I just, I guess that's part of my, my advantage. Like one of my strong suits is I'm able to listen to my intuition and go for it. So, and one of those things was actually going to Barcelona. And I did have doubts. I nearly didn't go. I waited till the very last moment that my visa would expire that I actually went because I was just enjoying my life so much in Sydney, but I still wasn't meeting the right guy. And there was a reason for it. It was no coincidence that I was not meeting anyone in Sydney. And so I went off and went to Barcelona. Next step is to be in the zone, be in the flow. When I was doing a lot of Latin dancing and traveling and yoga and all these things that made me really happy and best vibe and best flow, that's when I got really good ideas, the inspiration, what some people might call being in the flow or being in the void. It's like when you have no mind, as Eckhart Tolle says, the state of no mind. Your mind is actually completely blank and empty, and that you don't have those voices in your head that are telling you all these different things and arguing with you. And I managed to let go of that with a lot of personal development work. And all of a sudden I realized, wow, those voices are not in my head anymore. Amazing. And having that state of no mind, I also love cooking. I also love gardening. Those things in particular put me in such a zone, a flow state that I'm just really happy and really present. I'm so focused. And these are things that, you know, encompass your five senses. So if you love doing art, go do that. If you love modeling with clay and feeling that tactile kinesthetic feeling, go do that. And often do it alone. You don't need to have friends talking to you, distracting you to be in the zone. That's a different kind of zone. Go for and do something. Take yourself on a date, whether it be reading a book in a cafe or something, reading a book in a park, or doing some activities alone. And just being alone and in the silence, it's just untold amazing things can happen when you're in the silence and being in the zone. Cool. Next step 7, is that actually, so before I talked about, how is it going to happen for me? And a lot of people get stuck on, how is this going to work? How am I going to do this? And just trust the process and recognize that once you put in your manifestation, your request to the universe, that the right people come your way. The universe will start sending messengers and messages so that the right people turn up in your life. Just like I had a friend who mentioned Barcelona, and I was like, oh, that strikes my fancy. I actually realized I would love to do that. And it just started to, something inside me just was that, wouldn't say desire, because in the context that I teach desire means lack of, but it was more like inspired. I felt inspired by doing something when I heard it, and it was from that messenger, right? So what happens then is that the right people turn up in your life, and then it's up to your intuition to kind of give you that gentle reminder, whether it be in your body area, in your torso, it's a feeling. It could be that something that you've heard and catches your attention. Maybe it's a Facebook ad that talks about something in particular. What brought me on my travels was a Facebook ad for Remote Year, which was a travel program. And I wouldn't have met that friend who told me about Barcelona. And then I wouldn't have gone to Barcelona. So sometimes it's not the linear path that brings you to your soulmate and brings your soulmate to you, but you need to start taking the inspired action, listening to your intuition step by step, and taking action on those. So it definitely wasn't a clear path to meeting my soulmate, because if it wasn't for getting the visa for Spain, right? If it wasn't for my friend suggesting Barcelona, if it wasn't for traveling the world and meeting this friend who suggested Barcelona, and if it wasn't for seeing that Facebook ad and going on that trip, I would have met that friend. And if it wasn't for me being in the flow state and maybe scrolling through Facebook, but you know what I mean? It gives you those, you need to be looking out for messages and messengers in the form of people. And that's how you're manifesting. So forget about trying to figure out the how for now, and just focus on your intention and your end goal. Next step, I took inspired action. I moved to Spain, I moved to Barcelona, and I took further inspired action in the form of my book club. So during COVID, everyone wanted to get out, everyone was starved of human connection. And I really wanted to meet cool people who had the same values, who were into spirituality and personal growth as well. And I loved reading books. Books had so much wisdom and so much knowledge from them. And I just loved talking about books. So I thought, I'm just going to start a book club. So I took that action and for no ulterior motive but my own joy and for my own benefit that I loved meeting new people with the same values. And from doing that, I also gave opportunities to other people. And that's the last step, basically, that I set up win-win situations for other people to meet their soulmates as well. It wasn't intentional, actually, but afterwards, after I'd met Raf and I handed my book club over to two of my proteges, they were saying to me, "Oh, I've met great people from your book club. I met my girlfriend, I met my boyfriend." And what I realized was I'd set up this amazing platform for other people to have huge wins and to meet their soulmates as well. So in doing that kind of unselfish, selfish action, I mean, technically I did it for myself because I just loved, reading books and meeting people. It had this amazing flow-on effect that benefited so many other people, not just myself. I guess that's one of the beautiful things of manifesting, even more powerful way is that yes, you can manifest beautiful things for yourself. And when you manifest them for the greater good of humankind, I guess, it has an even more powerful effect. And universe is kind of like, yeah, we like that. We're going to help you get that because it benefits so many other people, that ripple effect. So I hope you found this episode interesting and informative and that you can go ahead and take these steps as well. If you have any other questions, make sure you check out my online webinar. You can register on the links below, and it'll teach you a little bit more about how to unblock the resistance. What are the subconscious programming that has been running you and that you don't even know about it? Stuff that has been in childhood, that has been from your past relationships, that's blocking you, that resistance that you don't even know about. And that is really the key. That's the key to manifesting your soulmate. So hope you like this episode. Any questions, make sure you contact me on my Instagram, Michelle Chung Coach. And I look forward to hanging out with you next time. See you later.